Over on Jaguar Gatorade, a new college football video is out. In this video, we talk about a dumb business decision made by Wisconsin during the 1981 season. Click the card in the upper right corner to watch. And now, on with our feature presentation. It's time for a brief history lesson and a trip down memory lane. December 10th, 1995. We have a big NFC East matchup in Philadelphia between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. If you remember this game, odds are you remember it because it was one of the biggest coaching debacles of the entire 1990s, and maybe even the defining moment of the Barry Switzer era, which is saying a lot, seeing as he literally won a Super Bowl with the Cowboys not even 2 months later. The Cowboys and Eagles are tied at 17 apiece, and the Cowboys are faced with 4th and 1 on their own 29-yard line. Inexplicably, they decide that it's a good idea, with 2 minutes left, to go for it, even though if they don't get it, the Eagles are in chip shot field goal range and can take the lead and win the game, even though your defense has been playing well. So it's not like giving the ball back to the Eagles means they're automatically driving down the field. And even though if you do get the first down, you've still got to go another 40 some odd yards just to have a chance. They get stuffed and they turn it over on downs. Except, they get an absolute lifeline, because as it turned out, right as the ball was snapped, we hit the 2-minute warning. The play never counted. Alright, so the Cowboys got stopped, but they got bailed out. This gives them a chance to rethink things over, breathe a sigh of relief, and punt the ball away. Except not only do they decide to themselves, hey, let's go for it again, learning absolutely nothing from what just transpired, but they call literally the exact same play that the Eagles just stopped. Unsurprisingly, they get stonewalled, they turn it over on downs, and the Eagles go on and win the game 20-17. It was a catastrophic blunder, to the point where it's remembered today as one of the most iconic games in the history of this rivalry, to the point where Barry Switzer, despite a 10-4 record, assumed the hottest seat in football, and to the point where it's still talked about nearly 3 decades later. Heck, it was so catastrophic that over 2 years ago, I did a Dumb Decisions episode on it. So if you want to learn more about that disaster, click the card in the upper right corner. Why do I bring this history lesson up? Because on Sunday, the Cowboys, just as they had done many times before, traveled to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles in a big NFC East matchup. Just like 1995, the Cowboys allowed the Eagles to score and got the ball on a touchback on the ensuing kickoff. Just like last time, after throwing an incomplete pass on 2nd down, the Cowboys, on 3rd down, had a completed pass just short of the sticks, setting up 4th and 1. Yet somehow, saying that would happen in 1995 was the worst decision ever made by the Cowboys in that exact same scenario that I described might not even be true anymore. Because holy cow, Mike McCarthy just put together a worthy contender for that title, thanks to some of the dumbest coaching and situational awareness that you're ever going to see in your life. For those who aren't watching this in the immediate aftermath of the game, here's a brief recap of how we got to this point. It's October 16, 2022. It's week 6 of the NFL season, and we have one of the biggest games of the year between the 4-1 Dallas Cowboys and the 5-0 Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, besides the obvious rivalry nature aspect of it, and the fact that this game was on Sunday Night Football, which automatically raises the stakes playing in prime time in front of a national television audience, this game was huge. The stakes speak for themselves. The winner of this game assumes first place in the division. And even though the Eagles jump out to an early 14-0 lead, thanks to 2 touchdowns to open up the second quarter, with the first one coming on the first play of the quarter on a 5-yard run by Miles Sanders, and the second one coming a few minutes later after Jalen Hurts found A.J. Brown for a 15-yard touchdown, there's still plenty of time left. If there's anything that this season has taught us so far, it's that it's not over until it's truly over. So there's still plenty of time left for the Cowboys to get back in this one. They just don't have a whole lot of wiggle room to do something stupid that defies all logic. Little did we know what was about to happen next. After 2 plays that don't go anywhere to start the drive off, with Ezekiel Elliott running for just 1 yard on 1st down, and with backup quarterback Cooper Rush throwing an incomplete pass on 2nd down, it's time for the all-important 3rd down play to keep the drive alive. And perhaps most importantly, give your defense a breather and give them a chance to catch their breath. And when Rush picks out CeeDee Lamb, even though Lamb catches it well short of the sticks, he does a great job dragging CJ Gardner-Johnson along with him to the first down line. And thanks to an incredible extension, the ball crosses the 35-yard line before his knee hits the ground. The bad news is that the referees spot this short, so it brings up fourth down. However, the good news is that with a spot foul like this, where there aren't a bunch of bodies crowding the ball, making it tough to tell where the ball was when the knee hit the ground, this one is super obvious. If you challenge it, you're going to win. Just throw the flag, or if you're unsure, take this clock all the way down, let your replay guy upstairs watch it and let you know what to do, and then go from there. Heck, you've got all your timeouts and both of your challenges, and this play is obvious and big enough. Might as well throw the flag, and they're going for it. Okay. I don't really know what you're doing. I mean, this is one of the easiest challenge opportunities you're going to get in your life, and there's literally no reason to rush to the line, but okay. You're going to keep the flag in your pocket and maybe save it for another opportunity. Right or wrong, you only need a foot to get the first down and keep the drive alive. It's your offensive line against their defensive line. Mano a mano. You just have to fall forward, and you've got this. A quarterback sneak with your 6'3" quarterback, a handoff to one of your two halfbacks, making up one of the better 1-2 combos in football in Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't get this first down just keeping it on the ground. There's only one really stupid thing, especially after not challenging that last play, that you can do here. And that is...
And on the boot, they're going to try to get it. Rush, in traffic, incomplete!
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Congratulations, Coach McCarthy! You have officially joined Nathaniel Hackett as the only members of the Three Timers Club on Dumb Decisions. And you're the first to ever be featured on this segment for doing something stupid in 3 consecutive seasons. I feel like the Cowboys are having some of their success in spite of McCarthy at times, because some of these decisions made by him make no sense. There was the atrocious play calling all the way back in 2020 against the Washington football team on Thanksgiving, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. He followed that up with some awful clock management at the end of the first half in 2021 in that great game against the New England Patriots, where he showed to the world that he had no idea how to manage a clock. You can learn more about that by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And now we have, well, whatever the heck this is. And of the holy trinity of suck, this might be the worst of them all for McCarthy, because nothing about these two decisions compounded with each other make any sense whatsoever. So with that being said, let's take a look at why not challenging a first down that seems very obvious, and then compounding that by going for it on 4th and inches in your own territory by having your backup quarterback throw a pass down the field is a really bad idea. First, let's start with the refusal by McCarthy to throw the challenge flag. Normally, I'd say that there's a risk-reward analysis that you have to do here. But come on. What's the risk of throwing the flag? The risk is that if it doesn't work out, and the referees rule that there's not enough evidence to overturn the call on the field, you'll lose a timeout and a challenge. The timeout is relatively meaningless since it's the first half, and you've got all 3 of them, and it's not like they carry over into the second half. And with challenges, the downside is that if you don't get the challenge, you only have 1 left, regardless of whether the referee thinks you're right or not. And this would be a big deal if McCarthy was a challenge-happy coach that routinely used both of his challenges, or all 3 of his challenges technically, since if you get 2 right, you get a 3rd for free. However, guess how many times McCarthy has even thrown the flag so far this season? 0. That challenge flag has been collecting as much dust as those Beanie Babies you collected in the 90s and then put in the attic after you realized they were completely worthless. Since joining the Cowboys, McCarthy has used both of his challenges in a game a grand total of 0 times. And the last time he threw 2 challenge flags in a game, you've got to go all the way back to October 15th, 2017, when he was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, and he used both of his challenges in a game against the Minnesota Vikings, going 1 for 2. In other words, it's like when you're going through your old school papers from 8th grade, and you're like, I can't throw this out. I want to keep it just in case I need it, even though you're a freshman in college now and haven't looked at it since 8th grade. And again, that's the risk if you challenge and it doesn't work out. That's the only reason why you wouldn't throw the challenge flag here, if you don't think you're going to win the challenge and you want to save both flags for later, even though it's a non-existent scenario based off of everything that we know about McCarthy and his coaching history. But aside from the fact that the risk is so laughable and so minuscule that I can't believe I actually felt the need to dissect it, there really is no risk to throwing the flag here, because the play is so blatantly obvious that there's no way in the world it wouldn't be overturned. Stevie Wonder could be the referee for this game, and he would overturn this call if you threw the challenge flag. I mean, come on. Any part of the ball has got to cross the 35-yard line for it to be a first down. When Lamb first hits the ground, literally the entire football is on or past the 35-yard line. This is a no-brainer. This isn't one of those where you have to stick with a call on the field because it's too close. This is one of those where you question why you even have instant replay and challenges if you don't overturn this. So this 4th down play, just based on that, never should have even happened. But then, to go for it in your own territory, not by running the football, but by throwing a pass more than 10 yards down the field with Cooper Rush? I mean, seriously? Prior to this play, the Cowboys called 6 running plays. All 6 of them picked up at least 1 yard, which is all you need here. However, prior to this play, the Cowboys called 6 passing plays. On those 6 passing attempts, of which you're watching some of them right now, Rush went 2 for 6 for 16 yards and an interception. On the day so far, in that admittedly limited sample size, with his completion percentage of 33%, his passer rating was an abysmal 2.8, which is worse than if he did nothing but spike the ball into the ground on every single play. You had a play that has worked 100% of the time so far in terms of picking up a foot, and you not only put it in the hands of a quarterback who has a passer rating that's not even 3 points better than 0, but you call the play to go deep down the field? I'm just baffled by all of this. From the lack of challenging a very obvious play, to then going for it in your own territory, to then going for it by calling a deep pass on 4th and a foot. I'll give Barry Switzer this much. As stupid as his 4th and 1 call was, at least the Cowboys were nowhere close to picking up the first down on the play before. At least instant replay didn't exist back in 1995. And at least his faith was put in the hands of one of the greatest running backs of all time in Emmitt Smith. He didn't put his faith in the hands of Cooper freaking Rush. After the game, Mike McCarthy was asked to explain what the heck his thought process was throughout this entire debacle. And he said that he didn't think he'd win, saying, "My history has been when the official tells you that, it's usually pretty clear." But then, he compounded that by saying that he didn't even see a replay, because usually, if an official is telling you a spot, that's not changing. And to be fair to McCarthy, he's challenged 4 plays in his career in Dallas regarding the spot, and all 4 times, the original ruling was upheld. However, those came in running situations, where there were a bunch of bodies surrounding the player, where deciding on the spot, or at least enough of one to overturn what you originally went with on the field, was nearly impossible. It wasn't with the player in an isolated situation on a pass. In fact, the last time you challenged the spot for a first down on a passing play, back in 2017, oddly enough against the Cowboys, you actually won the challenge. So in that exact same situation, your gut was spot on. And you decide not to trust it here, even though it's blatantly obvious, and you decide to say that you're not going to change the official's mind, even though you changed their mind before in a previous situation, and you would have here easily? Give me a break. So what do we learn from all this? If you have a first down and the referees don't give it to you, challenge it, especially if it looks obvious, especially if it's the first half when you have all of your timeouts, and especially if you haven't used a challenge flag and don't even care about burning 2 in one game and saving 1 for later, since you never do that anyways. And then, if you're not going to do that, and you have a solid and effective running game, use them to pick up a foot instead of trusting your backup quarterback who's been playing awful all day to throw a pass deep down the field. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gator 9 merchandise by going to jg9shop.com, and be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL Trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at Jaguar Gator 9. To see college football videos, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To see highlight videos of players throughout the history of the NFL, subscribe to JG9 Highlights. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.